All right, everybody, it's Larry and Steven, and we're talking some more Swish.
Indeed we are. It looks like last week we had James on. That was a good time.
Yep, and coming up soon we'll have another special guest. But before we get to the special guest, what have we been up to the past week, Larry?
Not sleeping, that's for sure.
And you're telling me I woke up about an hour ago. It's around 7 p.m. our time right now. I woke up at 5:30. I almost forgot about this podcast and woke up to a text from you saying, hey, we got a podcast in half an hour. I was like, all right, can we back that up a few minutes?
Right. Hey, it's all good. You were able to get up. You had a well-balanced breakfast at 7 p.m.
Yep, nice McDonald's double cheeseburgers and McNuggets, certainly.
Yeah, well-balanced right there.
Yep.
No, but it's fine. We did them LCQs. We did very well. Thankfully, we don't have to play this weekend because neither of us are good enough to be on the PT this week, but I heard it's a fake PT anyway from what everybody online's saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely opinionated for sure. I still would have liked a Q, I'll tell you that much.
I would have loved to have me some base money to just take up. But it's all good. We got some buddies that's on the PT for sure. We'll get more into that
yeah, for sure.
shortly.
Mm-hmm.
But today, what are we talking about, Steven?
Mental health.
Mental health in the gathering. That should be fun.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a good topic. I think what we've been doing for the last week will be some good material for that topic. So.
Oh yeah. Mental health, very big part of the game, but we don't want to get too much in it. We have another person that's with us who's actually gonna, what do we consider him? Captain, president,
team founder, captain,
people
whatever.
that gave everybody a chance because we look like stragglers. I don't know. No, but because we joined the team. When did we join the team? Was that January?
Pretty much, yeah. It's around when it became official. I think. I know. Our guests talked to me about the potential of it at the SCG Envy. I forget exactly when that was, but somewhere around November-ish, December, I think it was. Early December, I'm pretty sure.
I knew it was around that time because I remember I was a part of another group of guys, and I was actually looking for a little more dedicated group surrounding, and I saw their posts on Facebook, and I was like, hey, might as well. Didn't even think I was qualified because I'm not very good. But here we are. But without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce. Why don't you do a nice introduction for him, Steven?
Duy Vu.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show today.
That was the worst pro wrestling introduction I've ever heard in my life.
It was not. It was not great.
That was
wasn't
close
expected.
to Howard Finkel.
I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware I was supposed to do the.
You sound like John Laurinaitis.
That's fair. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to YouTube and show you that later.
Okay.
But no, Dewey, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's been an interesting time, of course, with everyone and everything that's going on.
What's going on?
Just, COVID-19.
Oh.
Living the quarantine dream.
The quarantine dream. Yeah, I know. We've been going to a lot of paper magic tournaments recently. It's been a very good time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Have you been having a good time at these paper tournaments, Steven?
I mean, I've been having a good time playing these tournaments, I suppose, if you don't consider the constant losing in top 16 of these LCQs or just missing on breakers or whatever for top 16. But no, I've been enjoying online Magic quite a bit, honestly. But what do you guys think?
See, when it comes to online, there's pros and cons. Always. I do like the saving money aspect. I will say that. The problem I have is they need to work on the client itself because Arena's just... I don't like their whole reconnection system. There's even a lot of pros that were talking over the weekend now. You win matches because your opponent disconnected. And unlike Moto, where you have a clock.
Yeah.
Why is that rope a thing?
No, yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
You brought that up to me before, and I brought it up last night in the Discord chat in one of the events too. The rope does seem kind of silly now. Like initially you had it because there was no clock, but now with a clock, there's really no need for it, in my opinion, because who cares if you want to take 5 minutes on a really important turn? That's your choice. If you finish the match before your clock's out, you did your job. Like, it doesn't matter how much time you take on one turn if it's a critical turn in a game, in my opinion. But
I just don't like that. Like, if you get disconnected, the rope shouldn't determine if you lost because you couldn't get logged back in quick enough. I hate that system. I like Moto. On Moto, I rarely get disconnected, just to be honest. Mm-hmm. And if I do get disconnected, because that has happened,
you can get back.
I lose time. Sure, I should lose my time. My opponent shouldn't be penalized too because I got disconnected. But I can have a chance to still be able to win because now I can manage it.
Yeah, you've got a whole 10-minute window. If you can't get back in 10 minutes,
exactly.
Too bad, so sad. But
yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of time. And
it's a stay over from Hearthstone, right? It's their way to adapt to trying to make Magic more inviting to more players, making it a quicker game. Because that's what you're seeing happen to games across the board. Very different game, but like MMOs they aren't as popular as they used to be because people want to play more quick pickup games. It should be fast.
That's
you
fair.
can get in, get out. Fortnite, very popular, right? It's popular because you can get in, play a game, jump out when you want, or play another one. It's always about the ability for you to jam these quick games and enjoy them and then leave. And they want that with Magic. Even though Magic, when we think of Magic, we think of, this is going to be an 8-hour experience. I'm going to go to this tournament, I'm going to play for 8 hours, 9 hours, and then I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to wake up and do it again.
I thought it was funny when you said 8 hours, because I don't know, last time I went to a convention center and finished the day one in 8 hours.
Yeah. Well, maybe then they should differentiate between, because they're, on the direct challenges, you can go to tournament match, and then just regular challenge matches, and then you have ladder and stuff. Maybe they should try now that Arena for the foreseeable future is going to be a tournament client. That's what we have to use for tournaments right now. Maybe they should adjust the client where the tournament matches no longer have a rope, but then everything else does or something.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. Why not have a feature where it could be like rope off or on? Just turn it off or on. Because if somebody wants to play with the rope on with their buddies, that's one thing. But if we're doing tournaments at the PT, for example, so many pros were making not necessarily complaints, but concerns that they were like, I won this round, but is it really a win because my opponent DC'd and couldn't get back in, even though they had 20 minutes on their clock? Yeah, that's where I stress concern. I'm not spieling like I've been DC'd every round by any means.
Yeah, for sure.
We can get into the arena shuffler all day, but we're not going to even get into that. I think Arena is a way worse program than Moto. I think it's just not good in general.
Okay.
Just my opinion on it. At least this is coming from a competitive Magic aspect. If you're just playing it to be grind ladder and stuff, it's probably fantastic. It's way cheaper in the long run, I guess, if you instead of playing Moto, because you don't have to keep paying for a monthly subscription or to buy the cards.
Sure.
Kind of, but this is the issue we have with the more we move into these client systems where the cards are digital and only digital and you can't trade them, right? So all the money I've dumped into Arena, it's simply because I needed to dump the money into Arena to play these tournaments, right? Yep. If I'm playing it consistently, I get to hedge a couple of those costs with the time I'm putting into it. But on Moto, I can buy these cards, and when I'm out, I can just sell them.
This is actually true.
And I can recoup the majority of my costs, right? And if I play well enough, you can figure out ways to generate income because you have extra tickets that's there, and you can use that to enter into more events. So then you're not pulling those costs in, and you have the those point systems that you're able to enter into tournaments as well.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Moto. I would feel all day Moto is my oldie but goodie, I guess you could say. I've been playing it for a long time. I enjoy it. I think the gameplay is just better. I enjoy actually watching Moto over Arena. I think Arena, I don't need all the fancy effects or I am Karn to get through a game of Magic and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
I think Arena is better for if you're trying to attract new players because of course it has the animations, it has all that, but if you're a competitive player, I think Moto is honestly where you want to be.
I still mainly play Moto. When I want to jam games, jam a league, do testing, I'm on Moto.
I was just telling Steven, if I would have queued for this PT, I would not have played a single game on ladder to get ready because I don't think that's really good testing for competitive tournaments. When I was going to Philly, when we had a new standard set come out, that was when Throne was coming out. I didn't play a single game on Arena. I just went, I played leagues on Moto because I feel like that's where I'm going to get my best testing.
Absolutely.
And especially with Standard on there, whoever's playing Standard on Moto are dedicated players. In my opinion. Because why would any casual player say, instead of playing on this free platform they made for us, I'm going to spend money because Moto's expensive. Euros are $50, I think, on Moto. If not more. Teferi's expensive.
all standard cards in general. All standard cards,
and that's because of Arena, which that's not a bad thing. I get why. It's just because they don't have the circulation of cards anymore like they once did.
Well, you have to remember with Arena too is it wasn't designed for what's going on right now. Like they didn't have this in mind when they created Arena.
It
wasn't meant to be
the speed.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be a tournament client right away. So some of the issues.
That's just bad foresight, right?
No, it is.
As a company that's making this massive game, that's creating all these tournaments, you have pro circuits. They go, all right, we're going to create this new client. Let's not make it for tournaments.
Right.
Let's not make it intended the way that it needs to be in order to preserve the integrity of a competitive format.
Now, let's look at the positives behind this. Everybody was fearful that because of COVID, that we're going to get a jump ahead into the future and everything's going to become digital. After the bad reception that we got from this PT the last weekend, where people are calling it a fake PT because it was online, there is so much attachment. People say hey, you can't cheat online. That's not true. I'm not saying anybody cheated, but how many chances do you have? Like you could just get a group of people behind you and be like, "Hey, we can help you out with this tournament." No, again, not saying anybody did, but it's your open door to do it.
Yeah.
So honestly, I won't say it's like direct cheating, but there is disadvantages to online the paper, and the uproar is because of like disconnection issues, that kind of stuff. And people that play competitive Magic, they like the gathering. Like. I love the gathering. I love hanging out with some friends. Like, there's people, we've mentioned this in previous weeks, I'm not going to see these people for who knows long, at least probably until the end of the year because we're online. And the circumstances is the reason for that, and that we have to live with it. But I think it's rest assured that we won't be going all digital anytime soon.
Well, I don't think going all digital was really ever... I think people were kind of freaking out about that, but, time will tell. But I think the outcry and frustration from this PT hopefully will end up being a good thing. I was reading a tweet from one of the pros this morning that was kind of giving Wizards a lot of credit for the last month and a half or whatever, because they've actually been doing a pretty good job of listening to their player base and doing things that we wanted them to do. The bans in Standard, the ban in Historic with Winota, even though they may have been a little late on it, but they heard the outcry for it and they took an action. They did a pretty good job getting to the bans, and they also they cleared what's his name again, Alex Austin. They cleared all. Yeah,
he is unbanned.
He's playing.
Kudos. Shouldn't have banned him in the first place, but whatever.
But all that aside, they're at least listening to what the players are saying right now. They're making changes that are helping their player base, and hopefully the frustration with this PT will, in the long term, be a good thing for Tournament Magic Online and Arena.
Here's the next thing. And the rebuttal that a little bit is... You spent all this time to announce the Standard ban because you wanted to test and you wanted to figure things out. And that's the reason for taking the delay is they wanted to test and they wanted to figure out what needed to be banned and how to make a healthy format.
Yeah.
How did you miss Reclamation? I need to know this. You had a lot of time. You didn't ban anything for a long time, and it was a concern for a grip. And then you just let the format, because the next thing we're going to talk about is a PT recap. All we need to say is Reclamation. What else needs to be said?
Nearly 50% of the metagame on both days is unreal.
The
and then its
first top
conversion
8 was 6 of 8. The second one was 50% of the top 8.
The conversion rate was incredibly high. I think it was
silly.
40% or something. Very, very high conversion rate for an incredibly high amount of decks being played. The deck's just incredible, honestly. And I can't remember where we placed Reclamation in our ban talks a few weeks ago.
It was a top card. I know that.
It was definitely it was up there.
It wasn't above Agent.
We were exactly. We were talking about the main ones needing to be Agent. We may have put Teferi ahead of Reclamation. I don't remember. I don't remember if we mentioned that Reclamation and Teferi, Teferi keeps Reclamation in check. But the point of all this is we definitely brought up in there that there are so many messed up cards in Standard at the time, right? Nissa in Bant and the Sultai deck. Reclamation, enough said. Witch's Oven. Pretty much, all the Cat Oven decks. And if you say those 3 cards, that pretty much defines the entire format right now. Mono Red is there. but it's not putting up very good numbers. It doesn't have a good enough matchup with these decks. But yeah, I mean, you've got Rakdos Sack, Jund Sack, Bant, and Sultai, I guess, and then you have obviously Reclamation, and those are pretty much the only 5 decks right now that are really playable. I mean, some people are out there trying Teamer Adventures and stuff still, but those are like the main 5 right now, and really Reclamation is pretty obviously seems to be the best
they're so
one.
far ahead. It's to the fact that the purpose of it right now with the standard format, it feels like Reclamation is tier 1, and everything else is like a step behind it.
Yep.
Because you have Bant, but I don't think Bant has as good a matchups overall as Teamer does.
Yeah.
I think it's the closest deck to being at Teamer's level.
Yep.
I know a lot of pros they were saying on some like YouTube videos / podcast things they were doing, how Bant, if you're not playing Bant or Teamer, you're discrediting yourself. Not discrediting, but giving yourself less odds of doing well at this PT this weekend.
That's fair.
They said you're playing these decks that you like has a good Teamer matchup, quotation marks, of course, and then it ends up being poor against the rest of the format because you're gonna run into, like they said, mono green, for example. You beat Teamer or Bant possible, which isn't even like a guarantee.
Yeah.
But then you play against any copy of Mayhem Devil and you just fold.
Priest of the Forgotten Gods, my goodness. I remember I mulled to 4 against Mono Green with Luris Sack in one of these events, and I played a Priest on 2, and the mulligan was erased in 2 turns easily. I replayed Scorpion a couple times, I edicted him every turn, and he just lost. And I had a similar experience with the deck we were playing in the last couple of these events yesterday. I played against someone in the LCQ. They mulled a 5. They were on the play. They played Priest on 2, and we're playing this Rakdos Rotting Regisaur deck. And I don't have a bunch of free bodies to sack, and they also had Mayhem Devil to pick off my early creatures, so they just ran away with Priest. I didn't have removal, and their mulligan was just immediately erased. I couldn't get Embercleave out of my hand because I had no creatures, and I just got blown away. So, yeah, no, that's the problem with the decks that are targeting the Teamer deck. It's not only the Teamer. I think Teamer, no doubt, is the most consistent deck in Standard. All its spells replace themselves, almost all of them. I think Dragonfire is one of the only ones that doesn't draw a card in some manner. Even some of their lands draw cards, or like with Blast Zone, have utility and do things. Mm-hmm. So us playing red,
so
it's obviously insane. And I definitely we've talked multiple times about how we ran kind of cold in top 16s, and I still feel that way. But at the end of the day, when you don't play the most consistent deck, it's more likely that kind of stuff happens. When you play an aggressive deck with mana that's as awkward as the red-black deck, you're going to have scenarios that you don't particularly want. Like, I remember I had to mulligan a lot of 7s that were like Swamp, red 1-drop, Dreadhorde, Butcher, Regisaur, and had the mana been reasonable, that hand is unreal good. But the problem is that's just not what red-black has to offer in this format. When you're playing a Scryland format, the aggro decks ultimately get hurt pretty badly. Because you don't get check lands. Check lands are so important for aggro decks.
We remember Theros.
So important. I miss Dragon Skull Summit so much with that deck. So much. You're taking risks, and you need things to line up well when you're not playing the best deck. And even though I went, I think, 4 or 5-1 against Teamer Rec specifically with this build, and my one loss in top 8 was to them, 20% outing me in game 3. Ultimately, the black-red deck just isn't as consistent, and you just need things to line up more often than you would with Teamer Rec, where you just have so many replaceable cards and just so many chances to win the game. And your cards are just so powerful that you can beat a lot of the variants that will happen to you. So Teamer Rec. Ray was talking to me about this when I was messaging him this morning after losing the last one. He was saying, I really don't understand why you didn't play Rec, because with a few days of testing, you probably would have been good enough with it. And thinking about it more, he's almost certainly right. We probably should have both just been playing Rec after he won. Right. Yeah. I mean, he entered one with Rec, and then we didn't pick up the hint and play. I mean, I thought about it twice. I just ended up not doing it because I was worried about the controls, which I didn't know how to full control. Yeah. So I would have struggled big time playing Rec. I thought hitting control full controlled, but that's not how you full control.
I do know. The reason I got off it, I got pretty much bodied in the first one I did, and it disheartened me.
Yeah,
I was thinking I just wasn't good enough with the deck, and the sample size was too small. I know, but it's easy when you're grinding these. I had some various, and that just adds more pressure to it.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into that, but
this is a huge part of the mental aspect. Because you and I multiple times.
What about you, Duy? Have you looked in the standard much? I know you haven't time to in too much about the standard format.
I mean, I've been playing it. I did the cash open, queued for day 2, and then promptly O2 on day 2.
That was better than we did.
Well, that's really almost the same as we did, right? Because
no, it's not. He at least got to play.
He did get to play. Did he get prize for O2?
We both got the same prize, right? Like, you get your cash back for the entry.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
you don't get anything for O2. I don't think you had to at least win one.
Yeah. So ironically, Dewey played, but
at least
still
he had a shot.
Yeah. At least he gave himself the shot.
All we did was got sleep.
Yeah, we
and
slept
a lot
in
of disappointment.
15, 20 minutes too long, but that is what it is.
Like I said, the last thing I want to talk about standards. I do think the saving grace isn't going to be M21. I think we're just going to need rotation, because at rotation, look at the cards that's rotate. We have Mayhem Devil, which helps them bring sack down. Wilderness Rec rotates.
Thank God.
Reclamation won't be here no more.
That card is horrendous.
It's just the issue we have right now with the way they have standard design, that it just gets too large, and when you have such a massive pool of cards, and it just pushes the best cards on top even better. Right?
Yeah, that's why this next...
You miss things.
We're at the very tail end of it right now. I remember the last tail end we had last year. We had decks like Kethis Combo, which hardly ever becomes a thing, is because it had such a large card pool. We had Vampires was a thing, because again, we had so many sets to develop and let this build over time, because Vampires did become a thing until the very end.
Yeah, Sorin cheating in Champion of Dusk was just so unreal powerful.
Who thought Champion was so unplayable up until Sorin came out? It was like top tier card.
Yeah, now it's a 3-drop.
And that's just how M21 is going to be. Let's be real.
They probably should be looking to rotate it just a set sooner, right? Like, this format wouldn't look as atrocious going into M21 if we have M21 and then the set that would rotate in the fall rotated out earlier.
Yeah, like think about this. We talked about this already. Wilderness Reclamation is obviously a ridiculous card, but how busted would Reclamation be if there was no instant speed X spell? If you don't have Nexus of Fate and you don't have Expansion Explosion, what are you doing? Making giant sharks? That's still really good, and abusing...
I'll play me some biogenic goos and we'll have a good old time.
But at least that one can get interacted with by kill spells and things. It's much easier, and it doesn't draw cards. Like, Expansion Explosion is just so much card advantage that... you cast it for 4 or 5, you probably won the game already most of the time, and then you hit another one, and then it just spirals. But if you don't have that card advantage engine, the deck loses a lot of potency. And I would have been really interested to see how busted Reclamation would have been without cards like Nexus of Fate or Expansion Explosion, big giant X spells at instant speed. But that was. And if things would have rotated a set sooner, maybe we wouldn't see as many things like that.
I agree. But regardless, we'll just have to see. Maybe we'll have a saving grace, and we gotta stay optimistic, obviously, because just some straight staying negative is not going to be anything beneficial.
Yeah, for sure.
So hopefully maybe M21 does make it into a healthy format. I've seen crazier things happen, so let's just stay optimistic and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting
That's all we can do.
We're getting 2 really huge cards in Scavenging Ooze and Containment Priest for Cat Oven nonsense, so maybe that'll be enough.
I'm so glad we could stop the Cat Oven deck. We really needed some answers to that deck. It had too many copies in that top 8.
I'm already assuming that, first of all, Rec's going to rotate, right?
Yeah, but not when it doesn't rotate till the fall.
Oh, I would imagine it will get banned before the fall.
You
if
would
that's
think.
The case.
We would hope.
Yeah, I would imagine that will probably happen. So I'm just saying, for what I believe will be the next best thing after M21.
Oh, there's so much hate for them.
There's a lot of hate for it.
Containment Priest, which we'll be getting in. We're doing a little preview next week, and we'll get more into that. But let's talk about the little task at hand. And today we're talking about mental health in the gathering.
Yep.
I know mental health mental health affects everybody differently.
Yeah.
Dewey, what's mental health in a nutshell?
For me, the way I think about mental health is your ability to process things at a regular level, right? Like a minor inconvenience is the way I think about it, shouldn't put you on tilt or put you over the edge, right? Like if you have bad mental health, you're getting poor sleep, you're making irrational decisions, you're easily put over the edge. Those are all signs that you have a poor mental health. And obviously, there's a ton of factors that go into this,
right.
But your emotional state, where you're at on a personal level, where you're at with your career, your work, and obviously for all of us right now, we are probably in a dangerous area because we're in the pandemic. We're going through this. Isolation is at a maximum. Even with Michigan opening back up right now, you're still slowly getting introduced back into everything, and all of that will play into that. So.
Yep, I agree. And that sounds like mental health 101.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't really have anything to add on. That's like a perfect description of it. And like mental health affects people so differently. Like there's no like I'm trying to think of there's no right or wrong to how your mental health is, like when you're trying to describe it. Say my mental health is really good or mine's bad. Like some are worse than others, and there's ways to address it, of course. But
yeah, at the end of the day, it's about how you think, how you feel, how you behave. Like all of that should be more or less in your own thoughts in a positive way. The people around you should be seeing it in a positive way.
Yep.
When you are thinking, behaving in a negative fashion, then you can think that you're moving towards a negative mental health.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I know many people. I know in Magic in general, we've actually lost some players due to mental health because of unfortunate circumstances build up, and unfortunately sometimes it has deadly measures attached to it. It's very unfortunate, and that's the main reason I was excited to actually do this episode. Not that it was an exciting topic by any means, because nobody wants to think negative like this, but it's a very big part of Magic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think when I think about mental health and Magic, there are three main things that kind of immediately jump to mind as to big factors of how Magic affects players' mental health. So I think number one for me would be Magic players hold themselves to an incredibly high and a lot of times an unreasonable expectation for how well they should do in events. And what I'm leaning towards when I'm saying that is, for example, I played 11 or 12 of these LCQs. I didn't win any of them. I top 16'd half of them. I top 16'd 6. So that's a conversion rate of 50%, which is pretty good. But your win rate to get into top 16 has to at least be 75% if you 3-1-1, you went 3-1, which is 75%, and then 3-0 is 100% to the top 16. And then even if you lose at any point in the top 16, you're either 75% or better if you started the event 3-0. When I lost in top 8, my win percentage in that event was 80%. So yeah, I was ticked off I lost, but at the end of the day, I had an 80% win rate in that tournament. Can I really expect much more than that? Is that fair? And I think Magic players really just put a lot of pressure on themselves and don't take a step back and just realize dude, one of the best players ever, John Finkel, had a win rate of 70%. If you're winning 70% of your matches, especially if it's against good competition, you really need to just cool it and just realize that you're really doing pretty well. So even though I didn't get the success that I wanted, you need to just think about how good you actually did, and yeah.
Right. No, I agree with that, and there's so much when it comes to Magic, you're right. There is a lot of unrealistic situations, but then there's it's knowing how to actually set those goals, which if
they've got to be realistic, man.
Yeah.
You have to be realistic, but I was talking about in my my recent series that I'm working on right now for those articles, the goals you set not only have to be realistic, you should understand the purpose of why you're playing the game, right?
Yeah.
If you're playing the game simply because you feel you should take down a GP, an Open, a Pro Tour, Player Tour, whatever the case may be, if you feel that itself is the only reason you're playing, you're setting yourself up for high failure, in my opinion.
Yep.
And that was a big issue I had. Like, I'm going to be getting more into my stuff, but like one of the basic ones is that my goals were just so off the wall. Like, I just started grinding tournaments, and in my mind, I was like, I should be on the PT. Mm-hmm. Don't know why that was my mindset at the time, but that's what mental health, it gives you set these things up because you're inexperienced and you think, like, you play other games and you're like, hey, this is my goal because I was able to achieve big goals in this game. This Magic's a whole new monster. Yeah. Way different than other games because this is a game of variance. Mm-hmm. And with it being a game of variance, you're going to have like cold streaks. Many of us has had cold streaks.
Cold streaks, and then what's even worse than cold streaks to me is when you're doing well, but you can't quite cross the line.
Yeah, those are
so
the worst.
Frustrating.
Like, my favorite one is like missing day 2 of multiple events in the last round of day 1. I've done that so many times. My best is starting out like 4-5-0 and then losing the rest.
Yeah, they're painful.
They're absolutely struggling. I mean, last year I had numerous top 16s and 32 64s, and it doesn't matter because at the time I was really struggling with it that I missed it on the last match. The very last match, I was locked out of top 8, or I already knew that even
like
if
Atlanta.
I was just, no matter what I did, I was not going to make it. And it's heartbreaking because you're like, you want to be there, but you have to focus on your own ability for what you can impact. If you keep worrying about the items you can't control, you're going to keep spiraling downwards as a player because then you're worried about things you can't have any control over, no matter how much you want to have that.
Yep.
Nope, I have to agree 100% on that. Like, it's like when you set up these goals, like, these are going to affect you mentally and then what you're doing. And then there's just so much that can impact it in addition to that. And if you're starting with your goals, it just, like, makes things so hard to, like, capitalize on the other opportunities that you have. Yeah. And then the next thing is, like, how does, like, the gathering of players, like, affect it? Like, and then that brings me up to currently, without having these in paper tournaments, we're not getting that gathering anymore. Yeah. There's so many individuals that, to be blunt, rely on that. Yeah. Because mentally, they were able to, like, cope a little bit better because they were able to hang out with friends for the weekend. We've been on tournaments and had a blast through the weekend. Mm-hmm. And then you suddenly are sitting at home. Like, we have the grateful that we actually live together, so we actually get to interact.
We get to hang out, talk about ideas, make bets together. It makes it more fun for sure. Because I'm going to be honest, if you were not living in my house, I probably wouldn't have played half of the events I played. Honestly,
yeah, exactly. It's an influence on each other, and that's helpful, and that keeps your mental stability at a good level. But some people don't have that benefit, which is unfortunate. When we're in quarantine lockdown, we're not allowed to actually go and hang out with anybody.
Yeah. Right. And this kind of leads somewhat to the second thing I was going to talk about with mental health and Magic is, you don't have that physical gathering, but you still kind of have this digital gathering, I guess, with Magic Twitter. And I think Magic Twitter is just brutal a lot of the time, dude, for a lot of reasons.
It's a terrible cancel culture, I gotta say.
It sucks.
I have avoided getting on it. I'm aware of it. I know about the conversations happening there. But
I respect you.
I actively avoid getting on Magic Twitter or even starting up a Twitter account because I don't want to be a part of that. Yeah. Like, that community, toxic to me.
Yeah,
I 100% agree. And it's not that bad on Facebook. Actually, Magic community on Facebook isn't like it once was. It's all like transitioned over to Twitter. And Twitter, worst thing you can possibly be on right now. Like, I read it, and I think it brings down my mental health because reading that brings so negative.
Yeah, there's just a lot of negativity. When it's not negativity, it's somebody posting like their 90% results or whatever that they're on fire with right now, but they're gonna cool down. That makes you feel worse as a player if you're looking at those stats like, oh man, why am I not doing that? Like, it's just I wish it's not very positive. Let's just say that, and that's
you
very
just joined Twitter. That's the funny part. You just have a small sample size of this.
I know.
I've been on Twitter for quite a long time now, and just reading this stuff, it makes me like, honestly, I'm to the point now. If you recommend canceling somebody, regardless of what it is, I just don't follow you no more because I don't want that negativity in my life because I don't see anything beneficial from it. I also don't I'm a very big person. Like if it's day one of the format, I made this so I'm clear on Twitter. If you say that something the new set needs to be banned day one, I'll literally unfollow you because I consider you.
Remember when everyone said Gyrudo was like the best thing?
Yep.
Where's that card?
Right. But think about it too. Even though how toxic Twitter is right now, not being on Magic Twitter, I know for a fact I'm at a disadvantage because when decks are doing well, when the lists are doing well, tweaks are doing well, new breakthroughs, where does it pop up first? It's on Twitter. The players that are doing well, they take those screenshots, they post those lists right on Twitter. It takes a while to feed into the other social medias before it gets posted on Reddit, before it gets aggregated into a place like Goldfish, or posted on Facebook even. It takes time. So if you're not on the ball, you're already behind. So when I get a deck list, it's a day behind, 2 days behind. So then the people get to take those lists and they get to keep working on it while I'm working on an outdated list. That's the disadvantage I have.
I agree with you, and that's why that's the only reason I'm still on Twitter. Actually, that's a good point because I'm on Twitter for the resource part of it. But sometimes the unfortunate part, we want the resource, but we get the drama, and then I know me personally, it messes with me mentally because just reading this stuff, even just making me somewhat irritated has affected me mentally at that point because I wasn't irritated until I read something, something that I didn't have to read. All I'm trying to do is find a resource. And it seems like some schoolyard BS when I read Twitter. Just to be frank about it. That's all it is.
That's what it is.
And if you have any sort of severe mental issues and you play Magic, I would highly recommend. I know there's resources, but I don't think the resources outweigh the cons that Magic Twitter will have for you.
And you can still have success without using Magic Twitter.
Like Dewey said, you will be at a disadvantage, but I know if I had severe mental issues, where I was at a very dangerous stage for it, I would definitely not do that because that would easily have so many things that could trigger. Not saying it would, but I don't think you would want to have anything like that in your life that could actually worsen your situation.
I think that comes down to those goals you're developing too, though, right?
Yep.
Like we had mentioned, knowing why you're playing the game is very important. And we're taking this and having this conversation on a very competitive focus, but a lot of Magic players are not competitively focused. I talked about it previously, but my current goal that I have is what I call my just cause. And with that, I talk about that I want to build a community of people around me who seek to help and develop those around them, and the community that they are part of is an environment that is inclusive for everyone. Now, that has nothing to do with getting on the Players Tour or the Pro Tour, nothing at all. It's about surrounding yourself with quality people, and that can be taken. Whether we're playing games at the kitchen table, we could be having a couple beers and cube drafting. I love both doing those. I don't play kitchen
cube drafting is so fun.
Absolutely fun. And you can have a great time doing that when you surround yourself with great people and have a good time. You can have those conversations. That's when you know you're enjoying this game. It doesn't always have to be, on stream. You're getting everyone's watching you, and you're on live coverage. Yeah, that's cool. Just enjoying games around the kitchen table, also really cool.
In fact, I enjoy Magic a lot more as a game when I'm doing that. We've talked, Larry and I have talked multiple times in the past week about, I don't even know if I really want to play this LCQ. That we're getting stressed out. They're not really that fun. They're just very stressful right now. And I kind of don't even want to play this event, if I'm being honest. But I'm going to do it anyway because I feel like I have to, because my goal is ultimately to get back to the PT. And so we both talked about I'm going to take a good week off of competitive events before doing any SCG stuff. We're going to do some videos, make some fun lists.
We're
going to probably do some cubing.
Sure.
Just more fun. Have more fun with the game.
Just all week this week. Last night, for example, I had to literally force myself to go home to do that LCQ. I had no interest. I did not want to do the LCQ so bad. I've never not wanted to play Magic. Well, maybe never, but it's been a long time since I have been dreading playing a Magic event. And it's not anything to do with the format. It's because it's when I'm doing consistent, and this is the most competitive tournaments I've ever had to do in a row. I've been doing them 2 a day, 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. every day
Yeah.
for like the last week. Like, it is so stressful, and I'm just not having fun right now.
Yeah, and this point brings me, I said earlier I had 3 main things. This kind of brings me to my third thing of how it affects mental health. A lot of times, to be a competitive player, it alters your life a lot. For example, for this, I'm going to bed at 10 in the morning and waking up at 6 in the afternoon. Thank God my girlfriend's cool with it, because I know a lot of girls would not put up with it. Like a lot of family like Magic affects relationships, it affects lifestyle. Like it's a big commitment, man. And you know, it's wild. Like that's a lot of people would look at me like I'm freaking insane for doing that. Going to bed
people looking at me insane.
Like a lot of my family members, like if I told them I was doing this, they would be like, "What is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing?"
It's just a game. Because exact words I get.
It's not a game though for
to
us.
Right?
I know.
For
agree.
us, it's basically a second job or a primary job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think about it in that aspect, what are you doing? You're adjusting your sleep schedule in order to play these games, and you're playing this game for 8 to 10 hours at a stretch.
Yep.
You're basically going to work. The mental fatigue that you're putting on yourself is similar to what you'd be doing at work.
Oh yeah, because for us it was about 12 or 13 hours of events in a row. Because there were some events like a few nights ago when I topped 16 the first one. I lost in top 8 at about 3:10, 3:15 in the morning, and you're telling me, dude, you got to get in and register for the next event.
Yeah.
You haven't registered for the next event. Registration closes in 10 minutes. I just lost a brutal match in top 8, and I have to reset my mind to get ready to just hop right back in 30 minutes.
No.
I'm playing another competitive event. It's brutal.
No.
It was so brutal.
Better yet, you had the nice situation where you're just going to sleep, getting up, and relaxing. I, on the other hand, have been.
You're going to work.
I'm also working each day doing this too, and I'm working for 4 to 5 hours a day. Then I'm doing 2 Magic tournaments, and that's only giving.
It's all you do. That's it. That's your whole day.
4 or 5 hours of sleep.
And my whole day was wake up at like 6. Hang out with Julia, my girlfriend, for like an hour, maybe 2 hours, play some video games, whatever, and then we're right back at it. And then I'm doing that until, about 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. Then I'd play a little more video games for another hour or 2 to make sure my sleep schedule's aligned correctly, and then we're right back at it the next day.
Yep, and it has been brutal, especially I've been super drained this week.
Yeah.
It's been bad. Last night, so I went to bed probably about 2. I ended up busting out of the 9 p.m. I had to go into an hour away today, so I didn't do the 4 a.m. And I am so happy I did, because I slept from 2 to 9. That was probably the best sleep I feel like I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's very important, as much as we want to grind these events, whether it's digital or when we can finally get back to paper Magic, is that you have to look at these events and realize that you have to give your time to other things, right? You have to give yourself time to relax, time to unwind. And when I say that, I mean taking that game in a very different aspect. I will intentionally set up time if I want to play Magic, but in a more fun way. I will do it with the cube drafts that I have. I have 5 cubes in my house. I invite my friends over. It's a great time. I don't think about competitive Magic, right? I draft decks that no one should be drafting because it looks fun.
Oh, that sounds about my arena draft the last few days. We've been having some fun cube drafts. And I honestly was doing those between rounds to try to keep my mind right. Because for the first few days, I was doing my things and playing aggro, and I would just play ladder between them. And that's just more told, because now I'm still in the competitive mindset, and it's just so much building on. And I was losing my mind.
It was taking a brutal toll on you those first few days, dude.
I was really starting to lose it.
Larry was ticked. I was worried we might need to find a new podcast partner. You were getting so ticked off, man. It was wild.
I was quite angry.
But at the same time, I get it. I get the frustration.
Pure anger. It's a mixture of everything.
You're not getting
building up, and it was kind of the explosion kind of thing.
You don't have an outlet that's outside of Magic, and that itself can lead to the problems.
I agree. It was pretty bad. I'm so happy that they are over, because, like I said, it was an element of feeling pressure to do it. And I have a little more I want to get into that, about the whole pressure to do well and all that kind of stuff. I have a whole little area I want to cover, but mention of pressure, so there's like a pressure when it comes to mental health. And let's talk about before, like, it was all digital. Let's talk about when we're on the road.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about y'all, I played a little bit of Magic on the road.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Yep.
I think last year was one of the biggest grinds I've done in a 4-month stretch. I don't think between, I think it was between end of July through the middle of November, I was gone from the house every single weekend for an event. Outside of just 2 weekends that I intentionally gave myself off of, I was on the road every single weekend.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
And it could have just been a day event, but when I was doing day events, it was travel out Saturday morning.
I think day events are worse.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
I agree.
Especially when it's a 2-3 hour drive away.
Yeah, that's like 6
those
hours.
were
Especially here, because I lived in Lansing. So Lansing, if they were in-state tournaments, for people that don't know, Lansing's the capital of Michigan. It's right there in the center of the state.
Kind of in the middle
When
of
there's
that.
tournaments in Detroit, there's tournaments in Grand Rapids, anywhere, or even like
You can go
Toledo,
wherever you want.
I was in a good median for it to be an hour or two. Here in Grand Rapids, where I live now,
It's kind of a medium location. But
it's actually not a very good location for matchup because there's a lot of tournaments in Detroit.
yeah.
that I used to attend. One day, before it was like a week or two before the pandemic happened, I went and met up with Ray in Lansing, and we drove to Detroit.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Lansing, and then I had to drive back here.
Yep.
That's a long toll.
Yeah, the only upside to the location that we have is we get to tap into the events in like the Chicagoland area
Yeah.
a little bit easier.
Yeah, a little bit easier, but I feel like there was a larger number if we would have been better access to Detroit. Like, how long did we have to drive for regionals, for example? Regionals was quite the drive. Like, from Grand Rapids to Saginaw was like a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
I was
3 hours is usually what I expect, and that's usually around my cap for a day tournament. I will usually say about 3 hours is the most I'd be willing to go, and that's only if the tournament is early enough in the day. If it's a later tournament, I just won't do it.
Yeah.
Yep, we've had this conversation. And I do a lot of the tournaments in at Post Sport Gaming in Findlay. And before it was a little over 2 hours from Lansing. Now, if we add this distance, it's about a 3-hour drive, if not a little more. It's about a 3-hour drive for me because, as many people know, I'm an Uber driver, so speed limits are just suggestions. So, with that being said, I can get there. But for normal people that drive, like,
They're looking at 3.5 or so.
So for real, that's a large toll, and that we're not the only ones that experience this.
No.
Think of the ones like, imagine if you live in Alabama, for example, and they don't have a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have to drive these long distances just to do an IQ if they're trying to grind the SCG tour. That's a long toll. Hell, I went to Post Sport Gaming before the last Players Championship. Collins Mullins was there. A few of the other SCG grinders.
A lot of
were there.
great competition.
They've talked about
And
that.
an IQ because they were like, hey, we came to Ohio for the weekend. We stayed with a buddy because we have to do IQs to grind these points. They're doing this for day tournaments. And I 100% think day tournaments are the absolute worst because I get the least amount of sleep on them. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't get the best sleep for Magic tournaments. Like,
Well, I mean, that leads into the conversation even when it's larger tournaments, right? One, I'll just put this out there. If you can do it financially when you're traveling and you're able to stay those extra days, drive in the night before to get quality sleep, I am now the biggest advocate of this. Whenever we travel as a group, we try to make sure we get there the night before and get there so we can get between the 7 to 8 hours sleep that we want to have. Even if it ends up being 6, giving us that option to get the necessary amount of sleep. Because the amount of players that I know that try to drive to a big tournament that's 5-6 hours away, and they do that drive the same day. Oh my gosh, you're not in the mental state to grind a 10, 11, 12 hour tournament.
Most normal human beings can't make that
I'll
work.
tell you a story about that situation. So, I wanted to go to it was a Columbus Open last year. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go to this Columbus Open. So I hit Ray up.
Okay.
Ray's like, I'd love to go, but I don't get out of work till 1. Normally, I was going to drive that night, and I was like, you don't get out till 1, huh? That's not an issue. So I played F&M, and I was like, yo, how about we leave at 1 and we'll hang out at the Hollywood Casino until the event center opens. So we left. We went and played some poker at the Hollywood Casino. Went straight to the tournament afterwards.
How'd the tournament go?
I started off 5-0. Last win I had. Because I crashed. It all hit me. And same thing. We went to the hotel. I fell asleep when we ordered food. He woke me up when the food, and I don't even remember eating the food.
And then you went back to
So that was the only thing we ate that day, because it's just so much. Because you understand, like, not only is I on no sleep, but some people that do it are on minimal sleep.
Yep.
And plus, you don't have time to eat during these tournaments a lot of the time. So you have all this building up, and then I definitely wouldn't do that again.
No, that's crazy, man.
On the topic of food, though, when you're at a tournament and you're gonna travel, okay. Like I said, basic rules. If you can't afford it, obviously travel in ahead of time. Get the necessary sleep.
Yep.
We travel with a group of people almost always. We pack up those rooms so we sleep well in the sense that we get there early. And then the price is lower because we're splitting it with a bunch of people.
Yep.
Bring your refreshments. If you can bring food and drinks into
Cliff
these
bars.
conventions, Cliff bars,
They
snack
will
bars,
save your
granola bars.
life.
You can do this really, really efficiently and effectively.
Yep.
Water bottle. Please have a water bottle on you.
Yep.
I love energy drinks, and I will drink them a ton, obviously, when I'm doing these events. I don't slam them because they don't hydrate you, and you need to stay hydrated throughout these tournaments. It's so crucial.
Yeah, that's something I definitely don't do enough of is
I agree.
Eat well, drink well. I have at some events, but I really need to make a habit of doing it more.
I honestly, the best time that I was doing Magic tournaments actually is when I was doing keto. The reason I would wake up every morning, I'm a very big advocate for Airbnbs.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
The big reason is because I can cook my own food.
Yeah.
It's for breakfast purposes because I don't want to stop.
Yep.
I'm on the way to the event center. So the thing when I was doing keto, I'd make a ton of scrambled eggs in the morning because I'm a big person. Don't eat carbs before tournaments. Because carbs are the worst. Because these tournaments are 13 hours long for the most part. They are long tournaments. And if they're held up for any reason, aka in the open, when you have 3-hour delays, they could be even longer. And this is going to affect you mentally because let's ignore the part that you have a goal set and you want a day 2. You can't tell me you're playing this tournament and you don't want a day 2. That's not a thing. You didn't travel from Grand Rapids, Michigan down to Columbus, Ohio and be like, I only want day 2. I'm just here to here.
What if I told you that when I go to tournaments, I don't go in with any expectations?
Yeah, I don't believe none of it.
What? No, seriously.
I don't believe none of it.
So there's like a part of my mind that I want to do well.
Yeah,
but when I talk about doing well, it's about selecting the right deck, selecting the right 75, working with my teammates on this list. It's about doing all that and then not making the play mistakes. That's a big deal for me. I don't want to make the play mistakes. I want to perform well on the controllables.
Because that matters the most, honestly.
Right.
That's the only thing you can control are the controllables. And I think a lot of people get so set on winning every turn. That's just never going to happen. You're never going to top 8 every event you play. It's just not a thing you can do in this game.
Yeah, not realistic at all. I, however, believe making day 2, making top 64, 32, 16, 8, taking down a tournament. I think those are byproducts.
Yeah.
I think if you focus on performing well, taking care of yourself mentally and physically when you're approaching these events, doing the necessary preparations to go to the events, right? And that's everything that leads up to it. And then going in there with the mindset of, I just want to play well.
Yep.
That's it. Focus on playing well. And if you mess up, the proper measure at that point is recognizing what went wrong, talking with your teammates about the lines, talk about what went on, and then figure out, was this the best line? Was there another line? And then you learn from your mistakes, you learn from that interaction, and then you move on. The same person could walk into a tournament with the same 75. One could top 8, and one could just 0-2 drop. It happens. But if you focus on just doing well, that in itself will lead you to make day 2 and then achieve your other goals. Those byproduct goals.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Ultimately,
don't get too happy that I agree with you. But, for those that don't know, biggest grin ever. We have to put him in check a little bit on that one.
I mean,
I don't get too many agreements from you.
No. Larry loves disagreeing with everybody.
I only disagree if it's correct or it's Steven.
Yeah.
I think you enjoy playing devil's advocate, which is a good thing because you have to.
It depends on the move. If we're actually having serious conversations, of course I'm trying to be serious. But most of the time, I just like to have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I agree, and I want to get into a little more of the goals and stuff like that. But yeah, the weight on that. What were you gonna say, Steven?
Ultimately, no, you're both are fine. We have a lot to say, and that was funny and stuff. But ultimately, I mean, to do well in any event, you have to get lucky in multiple spots. Things have to go right. It's especially depending on which decks you're playing. But like when you keep like a 2-lander with a Rotting Regisaur in it, for example, and you hit the 3rd land on curve and play it on curve, great. That's usually going to be a good game, and usually that's what your deck's trying to do. But there are games where you keep that hand and you just never draw the 3rd land and just draw like a million Ember Cleaves and other cards you can't cast. Yeah, some of the stuff you've been drawing, or like, but that can happen to anybody. And like in the Lotus Box events that I've top 8'd, I can think in at least 2 of them. In multiple spots, my opponents just made really, really silly mistakes, or in one of them, a guy DC'd for a turn. Like, you have to get lucky. Things that are out of your control are going to happen sometimes that let you get in there. When I was playing Boggles, I played against Death Shadow in one of the tournaments, and I end step made pathed a shadow to bait the counterspell and had no cards in my hand and hoped that I would peel Spirit Mantle or Daybreak, and I did. But if I didn't draw those, I was probably going to lose that game. But I was like, you know what? I think this is a really good spot to go for this. I'm going to go for it. Like, creating your own luck only goes so far. Like, people talk about that a lot, but you can only do that so much. So Dewey's thing on the controllables is just, like, super important to remember. Like, so true.
I agree. And like I said, the unfortunate part about the whole gold thing is some people just can't like get the mind off of that. And I know that from personal experience. Like, it is hard to go in like you've been doing games like whether it's like a game before Magic or you've been playing Magic so long on and grinding it that your mind is locked, and it's so hard once your mind is locked on a certain way, a certain lifestyle when you're grinding to change it on the fly. And then the biggest problem is like knowing when to change it, and that's hard.
Yeah, it's a long-term thing, though. It's about personal development and understanding that it's not a change that happens overnight. The player that I was 6-7 years ago when I first started playing this game competitively and wanted to grind is a very different person than I am now. Back then, I just wanted to take down a big tournament. That was the goal. End up on the Pro Tour. Be a high-level pro. I think those are all goals that we have.
Of course.
Are they good goals, though?
Right.
And are they mentally healthy goals?
Exactly. And that's like your goals that have to change in a productive way.
Yes.
Productive for yourself. What's going to be most productive to keep you in a good mental state and just so you don't lose it.
Yeah.
You know, which is so easy to do with this game. Like, Magic it's a mean mistress, as I've heard people say.
It is.
They are not wrong. Like, I didn't honestly know what I was getting into when I decided I was going to start playing competitively.
Yeah.
I now understand. There's a lot of times I just miss being at the kitchen table with buddies back in the day. But just playing. I never really was an EDH player, but we would just play 60 card decks and just have a blast. We'd have like 8 people in one game.
Oh yeah, we did those as well.
Those were so much fun because we would just have a good time, have a drink or two, you know,
because you were hanging out with your friends, and you happened to be playing a game, right? There's a very big difference there.
Huge.
Between playing the game and you happen to be with your friends, or hanging out with your friends and you are playing a game. One's the goal and the other one's a byproduct, right? And that's why a lot of people get into the game and they really enjoy it because they are just hanging out with their friends and they just happen to be playing Magic the Gathering.
I remember Dewey. The only reason I ever queued for the PT at all is like Dewey took me to a tournament with him when I was like 19 or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. Dewey drove me to the, and I had no aspirations of qualifying for the Pro Tour at this point. I didn't even really know what it was. I just went to the tournament to play a tournament and happened to win the tournament. And then, once you get to the PT, you can, speak to this too, Larry. I think once you get to the PT and, you fall off or don't do well, you really want to try and get back. It makes you hungry to get back, and that gives you a different mindset towards the game, I think.
Yep. No, for sure. And like I said, Magic is just... It's so cruel sometimes, and
for sure.
Mentally, it's just so hard to. I know, me personally, I remember a specific time that, for the worst for Magic, was back in Toronto.
Okay.
And I actually pulled up a Facebook post on this.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see this. I don't really want to read it out because I don't even like what I wrote, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's fair.
So, just to summarize, I started out 5-1 in this tournament.
Yeah.
I missed day 2.
Yeah.
I'm not in a good mental state at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already at a very poor mental state.
Okay.
I literally lost it because I put a lot of practice sessions in at this point. I'm a full-time grinder at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm not only am I doing this, but I'm also practicing along with working. So I'm putting my life is nonstop Magic.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I'm not playing and I'm driving Uber, I have an earpiece in, listening to podcasts. I'm doing everything.
Yep.
And my mindset at the time is, if I'm putting the practice off, I should have results. Because before I played Magic, I played poker.
Yeah.
I did pool and billiards. Not pool and billiards. Those are the same thing.
Yeah.
But billiards and bowling is what I meant to say.
Okay.
So all these games, if practice times, you're going to get results from. Poker's the same way. If you put a lot of time, you still have some luck in that too, but you're able to negate your luck to a different level than Magic can too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, and I was able to start making money because I did poker full time. So I was able to start making money, and I made a nice little living when I was doing it full time. So, and that all came from practice by losing a lot at the beginning, and then I was able to transition. So now I'm doing Magic. I'm doing the same exact thing I was doing for all those, but the results aren't showing up like the previous ones.
Right.
So of course my mental state is telling me like it has to be something with me. It has nothing to do with the game. Mm-hmm. Mentally, it's all me. Mm-hmm. Nothing else involved.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm having buddies. So many people saying, "Hey, don't even worry about it. Don't like you're overworking." But I can't, and they'll be like, "You're good at this," but I can't actually hear them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
because it's results oriented thinking.
Yep. And so I don't hear none of them. All I'm thinking is like they're saying this, and I don't even think in my mind they're not going to want me to go on these trips with me anymore because I'm not providing results.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just a waste of space in the car with them right now. They could actually have somebody that wins in this seat, and that's pretty much everything I wrote out for this post. It was just me being super down on myself. Yeah. Like I just wanted to be like no more trips.
Yeah.
And actually, this is actually the start of my turnaround. From last year is because Ray actually sent me like this 7-page pages worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until it was reading his stuff influenced, and also another buddy of mine sent me a link, and was like, listen to this episode of Jerry Thompson and Brian Gottlieb's podcast. I forget what it was called at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, it's their arena deck list now. I can't remember what their own name of their podcast was.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
I listened to it.
Yep.
And they mentioned, and these two have been really, really good players.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm listening to it, and one thing they said in that podcast is, if you think you're entitled results because you practice, you are wrong. Yep. You're not entitled, and you're not.
Yep.
You don't deserve anything.
You're entitled to nothing in this game.
You don't deserve anything. And that's why now, if we fast forward, when everybody was like, you deserve to be on the Pro Tour. No. I earned it.
Yeah.
I earned it. I didn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody deserves anything. And I took that to heart from listening to that. And obviously, and that all spews back, like mental health, how that all began is I started grinding when I left work, as I've mentioned in many of these podcasts. And I just keep saying doing it. And as I'm doing this, I have so many goals.
Mm-hmm.
So all my goals was based around I want to be on the PT, I want to be pro. Pretty much the same ones. Every GP or something, I was like, I want one of the top places. Mm-hmm. There was nothing underneath it. Like it was just straight up like
if you
I wouldn't tell people, but I was like, I need to win this tournament is how my mindset was. I need this. I am diehard where I have to win this tournament.
Yeah, and some of that goes into, we talked about, Dewey mentioned results-oriented thinking, and this ties back into the first thing I was bringing up of Magic players are too hard on themselves. We're also too hard. A lot of Magic players are too hard on other Magic players. Like, people are so unwilling to let other people have accomplishments in this game. It is ridiculous. You can, like, if you top 8 like a 5K or whatever, but you haven't top 8'd like an Open, or you've top 8'd an Open but haven't top 8'd a GP, everyone's always trying to diminish top 8s of certain events. But really, we should just let people, like, dude, top 8ing a Magic event is hard. It doesn't matter. Like, obviously, some of them may be slightly easier than others, but, like, let people have their accomplishments. Like, and this also ties back into the Twitter thing, too. Like, so many people are just unwilling to let other people have accomplishments in this game. And I think that's really, really terrible for players' mental health just all around. It puts so much pressure on everybody.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, mental health it's a little demon when it comes to this game because I know myself, we've had the encounter, and that all came like my goal-oriented wasn't great, and it just kept building. And then the absolute worst thing that could happen at me this time is getting marginal success.
Yeah.
I got marginal success. I started to do well.
Yep.
And then now I'm sitting there. Now when I'm doing well, my goals start increasing.
Yep.
I keep putting more layers on it. More layers. Hell, this all blew up, and I was hospitalized for a couple weeks because of this.
Sure.
And like my buddies, I just like disappeared for a little while. I don't think they really noticed. Like my mental health got so bad, I ended up doing some very bad things that you shouldn't do. I wouldn't recommend. I didn't have the greatest support system at the time.
Yep.
And it just like escalated.
Yep, for sure.
So now that I look back on it, I made so many mistakes that led to it, and it all became because of Magic, because that's why I did full time. Because remember, I'm in my mindset, if I'm not putting up results, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I've always been a competitive guy.
Yeah. Yep.
And every other thing I did, I was able to be right in the mix to where I wanted to be because I put all the time in, and now I'm putting all the time in, and I'm not getting what I expect out of it.
I think.
And it's
go ahead.
It's tough.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's important as Magic players and as a community. And on the competitive, we have to have a paradigm shift. We have to move towards having the idea that results-oriented and achieving these goals is not the only thing that matters. If you stay focused on that being the only thing that matters, it will just degrade at you and bring you down and whittle away at everything you are until you don't feel like you should be playing this game anymore.
Yep,
exactly.
And it's tough, man. Like I even now, like sometimes I question my own ability as a player when I think about like I've again been trying to get back to the PT, and I've had a few near misses. I've lost in the top 8 of an RPTQ. I got 5th in a team GP, which was one place short of queuing for the PT. Had some near misses in these LCQs. Like it's frustrating, and you start to kind of doubt yourself if you focus on the negative, which is that I haven't queued for the PT again. But you have to take a step back and remember all the things you're doing well. Are you playing well? Think about the events you have done well in, because there are plenty of those. Like, sitting here and just focusing on only getting to the PT and that's the only thing that matters is just, it's very unhealthy. And obviously that's a goal. And, I'm confident that eventually I can get back there. I think I'm good enough. But putting an unbelievable amount of pressure on myself isn't going to help me get there. So, I think it's important to just stay calm, play events, and just don't put an intense amount of pressure on yourself, because it's just an unrealistic thing to get there fast. Like, to get there the second time for me took like 3 or 4 years, and it might take me 5 or 6 years to get back. Who knows? But you gotta stay positive, I think, and that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, that version of myself would have never queued. He would have never queued. There is like zero chance that, because that version of self wouldn't have gone to the NRG event this past January and started out 0-1 and then not lose again and make top 8. Yeah. That version would have wrote himself off. And the unfortunate part is I was starting to drag back to that version recently.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when you were saying this.
I've been slowly starting it. That's why I've been wanting to take a step back, because I'm starting to like drag back where every loss affects me, and that's not how I like to play Magic anymore. Yep. Like, I went through that for too long. Yep. And then like the PT qualifier that I was in, that I did well in, was lucky enough to win. I didn't do it by going undefeated in Swiss. Like, I'd be lying to you. I had 2 losses. No, 1 loss in that one, and the loss came at a certain time that where usually you would think you're dead. But I just kept playing. I shook it off, and I was like, oh well. I move on, because I did everything right. He was favored, and I still almost got there. I thought I did quite well. So I moved on, and then I played that match again, and I won. Yep. And I somehow snuck in, because thankfully the one that beat me decided to go undefeated, and everybody I played against, all of them pretty much prized. Yep. Which that really helped me. Now, like I said, the old me would have wrote it off, and I wouldn't have done well. I might have angrily dropped. Yep. because I was just so frustrated.
Yep. I remember a few of the LCQs, you would lose round 1 and you'd be like, I'm considering dropping. I'd be like, dude, you're still good. All you got to do is 3-0, man.
Me draping back into that, and that just, and like I said, it's hard to, like, erase that whole part completely.
It is. Losing sucks, but, when you play Magic, you're going to lose. And sometimes it's not going to be at the best of times. You're going to lose the first round of events you play in. And that's going to happen
the
if
worst
you're playing
part
Magic. Like, it's just how it is.
Not anybody in particular, but I have some players that, like, message me now and stuff, asking for advice stuff. And I, always in the back of my mind, I feel like I have a reputation now I'm trying to uphold, I should say.
Yeah.
And whenever I lose and I scrub out of these events, I'm like, yo, am I even good? I start to, like, revolve around that question a little bit more. I was like, was that PT just a fluke? Was all of those day 2 caches just flukes? Like, and that's not the definition of a fluke, but in my mind, like,
it's easy to spiral into that.
Yeah, it's so easy. Especially, I don't have the greatest mental health, especially when it comes to Magic. Right now, it's better, but overall, like, I'm gonna circle back to where I was.
A week off or so is gonna be so nice.
A week off is great. Scheduling time, making sure you're not every minute of free time is not reasonable to be filled with Magic.
Yep.
You should try to have other hobbies. I have plenty of other hobbies. This year, when Paper Magic was available, my goal was to go to 2 big events at a max a month. That was it, 2 months. Because I wanted those other 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, to go do something else. Spend time with family, spend time with friends. Enjoy other hobbies. When I pursue the game, I want to pursue it legitimately and put the time and practice into it. But outside of that, I need other outlets in order to, when I come back to it, I'm in a better mental state.
And maybe Larry and I both, maybe we tackled them a little too hard.
I think
just playing
so.
a whole week straight of
See,
12,
it never
14
came to my
hours.
mind, though, because I haven't had, like, a super big issue in a long time.
Both so driven to get back to the PT that we're willing to do it, but it isn't mentally smart.
I just want to put it on record. Blame Ray.
I don't think Ray winning did us any favors, unfortunately.
Ray,
I think that put
if you
more
listen
pressure
to this,
on us.
Just know you're at the fault of this, Ray. You have brought this out of us.
But seriously, though, maybe that's part of why Ray was able to succeed above us and above a lot of these, because a lot of these players are doing. Well, exactly. Ray entered the event just to play it. It was free for him.
Yep.
So he decided, I'm going to play this event. So he was under no pressure. He's a great player. And all these most of the other players that are in this event are playing it every night. The 4 a.m., we're seeing the same names on that screen like every night in that list of decks. So part of it may have been, obviously he's a great player. His deck choice was great. He played Rec. But in addition to that, you also have the fact that he was probably having a lot more fun playing Magic in that event than we were. He was in a better state of mind than we were. He probably had some sleep, which we were both definitely lacking on. I certainly was. When I'm waking up at 6 in the afternoon, I still feel really groggy.
He came straight from work, so I don't think
that's fair.
Sleep. But
that's fair.
Regardless, it was his normal schedule, so it wasn't like
it was normalcy for him, whereas for us, we're completely adjusting our lives around these events. And is that the right thing to do? Probably.
He definitely didn't have the pressure that we were putting. Like I said, it probably was definitely very incorrect of us to tackle it like this.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad we did it.
I am too. No, it was good. It was good for this to talk on here. I still, we talked about on the other podcast. We thought it was important to try and play these to queue, and we're dedicated for it. But I think we should have approached it in a smarter manner. Maybe taken days off or not done 2 of them every day.
Doing 1 a day would probably be
1 a day.
smarter.
Yeah, or doing 2 one day, then taking a day off. Something. The way we did it was definitely probably not the most mentally.
Like I said, we didn't tackle it correctly, but I don't like to live in regret.
Yeah, for sure. I don't regret it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
That's what matters. You learn from it. Now, I learn a lot from professional gamers in other games, like League of Legends. When you have professional gaming teams, they usually live together in a lot of aspects with that, or they live where they can, travel and be together. But the things that they'll do is they make sure that they're taking the time and they're not just solely grinding 12 hours a day. They won't just do that. They will wake up, they'll eat together. They enjoy company. They have some relaxing time.
Yep.
They'll work out together because physical health is mental health as well. You have to take care of yourself physically to be able to take care of yourself mentally.
Yep.
They have other outlets. Then when they do play the game and they tackle it together, they take it on really well and they're better able to take it on. So.
Yep. No, I agree with that 100%. So a lot of these like Lowe's Box, I think they do so well because they have a house, they live together, and they're able to like work that. They don't have to all be grinding at all times. They can take rotations to do it, and then they share the data.
Yeah, that's why teams are important.
So I do think that means me and Steven need to crash on this couch. So Dewey,
there's the call right there.
Make some room. I think
time
it's
for more
time.
roommates.
You're here to help us. No, but
I got you guys. You guys.
Oh, see, we're moving in tomorrow. Julia, you got the house. No, but real talk though, like mental health is just so important. Like I said, I broke down. It affected me so much that it affected me personally. And that it all came from Magic. I'm not blaming Magic for it.
No,
at the end of the day, it's involving you, and it can all start by just like set your goals. Now, when I go to big tournaments now. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my goal is the day 2.
Yeah.
But I'm not super heartbroken like I once was.
It sounds more like your goal is you would like to day 2. You've put in some time, you've trained for this, you've practiced for this, and you feel that if you were to make day 2, it'd be reasonable.
Yeah.
However, is it the end all? And I feel like it's not the end all.
Right.
And I think that's important.
My asterisk goal, though, is just to play well.
Yes.
That is what I always want to do. Mm-hmm. Like, if I can do everything I can to not make mistakes, obviously I'm going to make mistakes. Pros make mistakes. Why am I different? Mm-hmm. I'm not silly enough to be like, I should never make another mistake in my life. If I make a mistake, it's over.
No, it's about knowing that when you made a mistake, recognizing it and learning from it, and having those discussions and understanding why it was a mistake. Was sideboarding the correct item? Was choosing the right deck a mistake? All these things that play into it. You have to be able to recognize it, and that in itself is a very mature level of approaching the game, though.
Yeah.
Most of us are not at that level. I don't even know if I'm at that level. I don't know if any of us are at that level. But it's just taking the time to slowly work towards that end goal.
Yeah, I agree, and I do though. What I have fun doing now with Magic is I like recording videos for YouTube because my goals in Magic right now are way different than what they once were since I'm not doing paper. Yep. My goal is to get more subscribers and more views on our videos.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a realistic goal.
Absolutely.
That's a goal that's not on my
That's a good goal.
That is a great goal because I have fun doing these videos.
Yeah.
I have fun when we do these podcasts.
Yeah, we're playing decks that we normally wouldn't play otherwise.
I want to go back. Soul Type Flash wasn't the most fun. But
that was when you play a deck that's not winning
the
video. Yeah, the video was still
the
cool.
The video was all I cared about. Yeah. Like I'm actually starting to have before we did these LC kits, I was actually having fun playing Magic again.
Yeah.
Mainly because we were playing Moto, but besides the personal preference. Even the arena ones, I just have a good time. We get to talk out. Eventually, I'd like us to start streaming live. Yeah. Once I'm done being slow and figure out how to do it. Nice. I want us to start streaming and start getting that out of the way. Because I think streaming would be a super lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be cool. It'll, give people some entertainment.
And that's the best way to get more hits on YouTube at the end of the day. Is getting your stream viewers to watch your stuff. And if that's my goal... That's what I need to do. I'm making a realistic goal now, and something we can do
for sure.
Yeah, we can do some group streams over here now that the stay-at-home orders are being lifted and things are being eased out. I've got a setup for that.
Yep. And I think group streams would be a great time.
It'd be really cool. Yeah. Yep. And I think these are really nice too for any new players who are getting into the game or whatever. I think we have a lot of helpful things to say for new players, so I think that should be a goal too.
That's the main goal. Like we do different topics. We're trying to bounce around as much as we can. And like I said, I'd be down to do some cubes in person if we ever could get people together for it. That's definitely a good time. I've always enjoyed cube drafting though. I will tell people that's one of the best formats in Magic.
Absolutely,
because you're just enjoying it and having fun.
And
you're building sweet decks.
When you're grinding Magic, it's always good to insert the fun of Magic into it.
Because ultimately, Magic is a game. It's supposed to be fun. That's why all of us started to play Magic. Is we had fun playing Magic, and when you take the fun out of it, it just it becomes like a job.
It's a job, and it's not only a job because at least at the job I'm getting paid, right? So there's
there's no guarantee.
It's just cost. A lot of times it's just cost.
Oh no,
it's on.
This community service, fellas. Let's be real. This is something I feel like I'm required to do.
Yep.
But don't get paid.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll give me like one of the free meals or something. That's one of the small payouts where it doesn't even cover close to my entries or something.
Right.
But all jokes aside, like that's like the biggest thing is I was able to like turn around. Now the goals are just so much easier. Mm-hmm. Like last week or something, that was just like too much stress built on, too much pressure. It got to a point where I felt like I had the queue on one of these.
Yep.
Because you felt that you were playing enough of them and you were putting the time into it. You felt like you should be there.
Like, we almost had a matching hole in the basement. Like, it was bad. Like,
oh, boy, yeah. For those who don't know, there's a hole in my wall in the basement. We won't talk about how it got there, but, at the end of the day, if there are 30 players entering one of these tournaments, only one of you gets out with the win. Obviously, play skill is not 100% even, but assuming the odds are 100% even, we'll just go from that because that's really all we can do. You only have a 3% chance of queuing, and that doesn't change with how many of them you enter. That the fact that you entered one before doesn't make it any more likely that you're going to win another one. Mm-hmm. If you enter another one with 30 players, it's still only a 3% chance you win if it's mathematically all even. So the odds that you queue are still incredibly low. Like, obviously, play skill, impacts that a bit. But even if you're a great player, I would say the odds you win an event are probably only like 20-30%. Like, they're still low.
Yeah, I mean, right. And look at when you get to a big event like the GPs, the Opens, the Pro Tours, Player Tours, all that stuff. When you're at those things, your win rate has to be in the upper 90s, just shy of a perfect record in order to take one of those things down.
So hard.
It's like you have to
run hot.
It's
so hot.
Purely running so as hot as possible. You have to be mentally prepared for it. You have to have picked the right deck. You have to be playing extremely well. All those factors have to align just for you to make top 8 and then take it down. Like, it's a whole nother ballgame.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then look at mine, for example. Like, mine was modern. I also had to have the pairing lottery in my favor.
Yes.
Because when you have the Eternal formats, now you have the big old lottery. They spin the wheel, and then you're like, hopefully it lands on the matchup I don't immediately die to.
And one thing we still haven't even talked about, too, is die rolls. Mm-hmm. Die rolls matter a lot. Someone posted like a stat earlier this week on Twitter. This was a good use of Twitter, is that there's like right now in standard, if you win the die roll, you're like 56, 57% to win the game. So all of a sudden you've got that factored in too.
Yeah, and I lost a lot of die rolls.
Yeah, and you were playing an aggro deck. That's like the word. I won a lot of die rolls, which helped me a ton. Playing a Gutter Bones into a Robber of the Rich into Rotting Regisaur on the play is so much better than doing it on the draw for so many reasons. You're a turn ahead for the damage. You're getting cards on the Robber. Like, it's so huge to be a turn ahead.
I had it on the play like one time against Wreck, the like 7 times I played against it.
Yeah, and maybe that's part of the reason you're losing to it and I'm not. I've won a lot of die rolls. Like,
it might be true.
It's a huge difference. Mm-hmm. A turn makes just huge, and I think that's really important to remember too.
And I mean, honestly, if you're ever at the point where you're struggling with any of these, there is online help. There's online counseling right now. Please reach out for anything like that. We're all dealing with a super high stress situation. There is isolation that's going on all over the world. There's hotlines available. The 1-800-273-8255 for the hotline there. It's there for help. Reach out to your family and friends. Take a break. Go do something else outside of Magic. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a weekend, whether it's a week. Take that time off that you're going to need to recharge, unwind. And when you come back to the game, it's completely different. And you can focus on the plays that you need to do and focus on the tournaments that matter.
Yep.
And it's not going anywhere.
Huge difference.
It's not.
The game's been here since, 93?
It's always going to be here, and it doesn't look like it's going to win anytime soon because it's the #1 card game, right?
Yeah, hands up. We always get these new games that come out. They'll never compete.
Never compete.
They just need to be their own entity, and they'd actually be successful. But yeah, I don't think people reach out enough, myself including.
Well, and that's not only Magic players either. That's just
no.
our nation is incredibly.
No, that's just the world.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Thing,
but
right?
I know in America, it's like a huge issue too. It's just like people not willing to seek out help or willing to admit they have issues, and we all go through stuff mentally, man. Like life is not easy at all.
Yeah.
So
and if Magic's hurting you mentally, just leave Magic for a while, like you said, like.
I took a 3.5-4 year break because I couldn't pursue it the way I wanted because I was very results oriented.
Yeah, I remember. And I remember when I was when I had my full-time teaching jobs, I did not play much Magic at all because I just knew that the amount of time it would take to get the results that I was looking for, I just couldn't put that into it. So I didn't want to set myself up for failure, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to put things down for a while and know that you need to put all your focus into other things other than Magic, because being a new teacher is also something that's very difficult and something that I am by no means to the level I want to be at yet. So that is something I have to put a lot of time and focus into. And, it's important that you realize these things.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And I know personally, I'm going to be on the YouTube page. I'm going to put down those numbers. I'll have you
That'd be great. I can get those links to you.
Yeah, give me all the resources we could put below. Because I think it's little resources that everybody should have.
It is. And
then
reach out to your family and your friends, because that's what they're there for. Your family and friends are there to support you and take care of you just as much as you are for them, Just being an ear and listening to what someone else is going on is such a big deal. And just truly listening is a big deal.
Yep. I agree. There's no pure solution to this, because I wish it could be back when people was like, just don't do that. I'd be like, why didn't I think of that?
That's not
Thank
ever going to
you
be
for
fixed.
showing up and let me know that. No many times I've heard that it's not the way you want to be. But you can take the right steps.
Yes, absolutely. You take the right steps for you, and you're going to work towards those things, and that's how you're going to get to that ultimate conclusion.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Just to be on preservative time, we're gonna. I think we've covered everything we wanted to this week. Like I said, check out them research below. But we will talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking over next week.
Yeah, next week's going to be awesome. We're bringing Ray on again, right?
The return.
The return of Raymond Perez,
who will be
PT competitor.
Fresh off.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Junior. I always forget the junior. Sorry, Ray. I'll get used to it, I promise.
That's why he's not a real teacher, guys.
Yeah.
He can't pronounce his name right. We're going to be previewing some M21. We got some nice reprints, a lot of reprints actually. Ooh, I can't wait for me some Ugin and Nissa Standard.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. The preview show is going to be awesome. Talking with Ray about his PT is going to be awesome. Hopefully he does well, but even if he doesn't, I'm sure he'll have a lot of insight.
If he doesn't do well, we might have to get a new guest.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he'll cut it anymore.
That's fair. Maybe we'll find someone else.
Ray do well. They have high expectations.
The pressure's on.
The pressure is on.
No, Ray won't be feeling any pressure from this crap.
Don't know which event he's doing yet. Yep. I don't think he's decided. I think it's all based on his work schedule, obviously.
Yep.
But I hope he does well in either one.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great. But even if he doesn't, it's going to be really cool to just get his insight on the event and talk about it. Just having a preview show is going to be really cool.
Yeah,
we can
we're
talk
going
about
to
the
do
new cards.
We're going to use a LSB term, deep dive.
Okay.
Into standard and historic with M21.
Yeah, sounds good.
So this week, you are going to sit down and we're going to brew up some decks.
Yeah, one might say we're going to delve into it.
Not a single delve card in the set. There's no delve.
That joke has 9 lives. That's how you.
Joe didn't even have 9 lives. We removed it.
No.
Oh man, I just figured it'd be better to use our own term than LSVs.
Well, I'm okay stealing his term, and then Monday we're going to get legal papers never again.
We're going to copyright it.
Oh man! But either way, yeah, it's going to be sweet. I'm excited to go in and talk about it.
We'll even make a promise. We're going to brew up decks.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We're going to have some deck lists that won't have Teferi or Reclamation in it.
All right, I'm into that.
We can do a Teferi list.
Believe me, I can make a mono white dog aggro deck.
I'm so surprised. You mono white deck?
At least let it be black white so you can play the Hound.
Yeah, no, it probably won't be mono white. That was more of a joke than anything. It won't be a mono white deck. Yeah, the Cats have some cool cards in Historic, right?
Actually, we should build up a nice little Pioneer Cats list that we're going to put on some videos.
Yeah, that might be fun if we can. If we can come to a good conclusion for a good list. I'd be
Regal,
down.
like Regal's a great lord.
Regal. We'll have to think on it. See if we can come up with an actually competitive list.
Being printed?
Yes, it is.
Oh boy,
which is really just, if you think about it, it's pretty much just Lyra again.
Man.
It's a slightly different Lyra.
Sounds like you guys are gonna have this great article to talk about all the different lists you guys are going to come up with.
You know,
for those who don't know, that's Dewey asking us for an article.
I guess our article actually,
which we're both a few weeks behind on making one, so I suppose it makes sense.
M21 brews.
M21 brews for standard and historic.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I think it'd be a good time.
Believe me when I say I can make a historic mono white deck, though.
100%.
You better believe. Mono white Yorion, baby.
And for those that don't know, we're going to be eventually doing a taxes podcast, which will include some mono white builds to my disdain.
And we have some players we've talked about maybe getting involved with.
Yeah,
with that
but we don't want to name drop.
Yeah, we're not going to name drop until we talk to these players. But
we need to get some more players from the outside world.
I may or may not have a source that knows a thing or two about nonsense mono white decks in any format. So
yes, and
we'll give
a source I have played against a few times.
Yeah.
Those LCQs that I got to be introduced to.
We'll see if he'd be interested in that. But
yeah, for sure. Just to wrap things up, like I said, next week we'll have the preview show. In a couple weeks we're going to be covering Casual Magic, so we'll want to tune back in for that as well. Mm-hmm. But Dewey, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on the show. You guys are doing a fantastic job.
We apologize that Stephen gave you that weak-ass introduction. That was like the weakest introduction.
I suppose when
Ray was on the show, I hyped him up. I was like, top 16 Arrows PT participant finalist. I did all this.
And then James's introduction was just honest and to the point. And
James, I mentioned him how he's never been on the
PT runner.
And then Steven comes in. Dewey.
To be fair, I don't really have anything that big of a fame, so
that's fair. You are a nobody.
Just a lot of near misses. But infinite near misses.
But you are good at booking rooms with free drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
I'm professional.
If you want to go with somebody that'll hook you up with free drinks for their
I
room.
always make sure our rooms are great price, buffet packed, and if there's an option for free drinks, you best believe we're going to be at that.
And then the trips are great because after the trip, he has to make a group chat with me and Steven because we didn't pay him.
Oh, yeah. Too used to James's tab, dude.
Yeah.
Just never having to pay.
Yeah, we didn't pay James. Like, he just paid James for New York.
2 weeks ago.
What?
2 weeks ago.
I still owe James.
Holy moly.
I think I owe him like $300.
Yeah. Mine was around $600, but
I have people with tabs, but if you don't have to have a tab, I prefer you not to have.
Yeah, no. It was James is always really understanding, as long as I'm always good for it. I get him the stuff
My
back.
mindset, if I have tabs, I don't bring it up unless they bring it up.
Oh my god.
Recently, Dewey was on. I had a tab with Dewey. He didn't message me, so I'm like, let's wait this out. Let's wait this bad boy out. I was like, I'm eventually going to bring it up and pay, but let's see how long he goes before he remembers. We'll go a year.
And with that, Larry being a scumbag.
I don't have anything else. I think this is about it. So preserve everybody's time.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Yep, until next time.
We'll see you next time.
Yep. Catch you later.